So what happens when a light ray reflects from a spherical mirror like concave mirror here? We know that after reflection from the mirror, it passes through a point which is known as focus point, and this distance from here mirror to this point, it is known as focus distance, and it is half of the radius. Since this concave mirror is cutted from a sphere, so the sphere has some radius, so this radius is here, and this focus distance is half of the radius. When we try to prove this formula mathematically, we use the assumption that theta is almost 0, and we can see here that this assumption is valid when we take a ray very close to axis and theta is almost 0 degree, so it passes through the focus. But what happens when we increase the angle? So here the angle of incidence is increased a little bit and it still passes through the focus, and we can go on increasing the angle of incidence, and in this case we see that the reflected ray does not pass through the focus. So this assumption or this relationship between the focus distance and the radius is valid only within certain limit. So this limitation breaks when we go for high angle of incidence, like in this scenario, and we can see that this is a tangent line and this is the radius line, and it makes 90-degree angle with it. So we can use the law of reflection, that angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection, and when we use this law or rule of reflection, we can see that it does not pass through the focus. And in this scenario it is more visible, more exaggerated, that it is the angle of incidence is very much higher, and it still does not pass through. It is in fact very farther away from the focus point. So the conclusion is that when an angle of incidence is very much high, the reflected ray does not pass through focus, and this phenomena is known as a spherical aberration. Spherical aberration is that the reflected rays does not converge at a single point and the image is not sharp. We can see they are converging at different points, so the image is not sharp. This phenomena is known as a spherical aberration. This is due to the spherical nature of mirror. So that is the limitation of this relationship, that focus is half of the radius.